What's up, everybody? It's Make It Make Sense. And, sometimes we got to get a little messy. Like the video as the intro plays, because we got a lot to get into.
Could somebody please make it make sense?
Make it make sense to me in lecture.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. Make sense.
Make it make sense. You know what was up.
Big moves.
Surfer.
Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense.
Hallelujah. And guess what that was? That was a boldness for God. Some of y'all can't sing either.
Sing the one,
Sing the wondrous
love
love.
of Jesus, sing His mercy and His grace in the mansion bright and
I'm singing alone now. You, ma'am, with that mask. Let that mask work for you. I'm singing alone. No.
I've been stopped liking you since last year.
Y'all. So I low-key kind of want to start here with Karen. As you guys know, Karen Huger, was arrested. It was a big deal. I'm really glad that she's okay, but we got to have like a conversation. We got to talk. I'm sorry. I love Karen Huger, and I can't say this enough. I'm super happy that she's okay. But when Karen gave her explanation, I'm kind of side-eyeing it. It says, Karen Huger blames DUI crash on being emotional about her mother's passing and upcoming Mother's Day holiday. It says, neighbors, we are all shocked to learn that the Grand Dame was hit with DUI charges on Wednesday. Well, Karen Huger is breaking her silence on the matter and says she was emotional over the passing of her mother and the upcoming Mother's Day holiday. With the passing of my beloved mother, grief comes and goes in waves. And with Mother's Day approaching, it has felt more like a tsunami, she said in a statement. Last night, now let's stop there. Do I think that grief can make you emotional? Absolutely. I do. Do I think that, people do cope with alcohol and drugs? Absolutely. That part could be true. She said, last night I met a girlfriend for dinner. We talked and brought up some very emotional, sensitive topics. I was crying on my way home and saw a car heading right for me. I swerved to avoid the head-on collision, but the driver hit the divider and then a tree. I'm hurt, bruised up a bit, so grateful I am alive. I did receive citations, one of which was unrelated to the incident, which is understandable, but what was most surprising is that the car almost hit me, just drove away. Karen finishes by saying, I would like to stress it's important to understand your emotional state when driving and made this reminder to all of those to use your seatbelts. My mother may be my guardian angel, but the seatbelt saved my life. Karen's mom died in late 2017 on Thanksgiving Day. Thoughts, neighbors. Okay, y'all. Karen, I love you, but this is BS. This is some bull. Let's break this down, y'all. Let's start with last night I met a girlfriend for dinner. We talked and brought up some emotional, sensitive topics. I was crying on my way home and saw a car heading right for me. Ma'am, you were under the influence. Are you sure that you weren't the one who was driving incorrectly? You were the impaired driver. And a car coming straight for you, there was a median. So are you saying that there was a vehicle driving on the wrong side of the road? And in your impaired state, you saw that and swerved and hit the median? Because how could a car be coming directly for you if there is a median dividing the lanes between you and the other car? This is either poor judgment on her PR's part, or Karen just thought she would give a statement to TMZ. This fell flat, y'all. I swerved to avoid the head-on collision, hit the driver, and then the tree. At no point is she taking any type of accountability for driving while impaired. Karen, you know I go for you, but
Like, girl, get it together. Connect the dots.
am I the only one seeing this, y'all? Let me know. Very grateful that Karen is okay. She's a woman of a certain age. I think she's like 60, maybe she's 61 now. But you drank, you drove. She said, I did receive citations, one of which was unrelated to the incident. They cited you for driving under the influence. This is just going to give everybody who doesn't like you fodder. Giselle already called you a drunk. They said when you drink, you tell all your business. You are a woman of means who, if you were inebriated, you could have driven, or you could have just called an Uber. So I expect that we're going to see something real soon come out with Karen giving another statement. This almost felt like when Dr. Jackie was under fire, and instead of really acknowledging what she said, she talked around it. This is talking around it. Could this woman have been very emotional because Mother's Day is coming? Wait, when is Mother's Day? Let's see. Mother's Day 2024. Mother's Day is in like 2 months. Why did I think Mother's Day was in a couple weeks? So Mother's Day is in 2 months. Oh, Karen. This was not a good look all around. If anything, you should have advocated in there for not driving under the influence. I feel like any publicist worth their weight would have told you to either not give a statement, wait to see how the dust settles, and then advocate for driving, not driving impaired. They're going to eat you alive. You better be glad that the reunion is over, but this will be a topic. If Karen gets a pickup letter, this will be a topic. But what was most surprising is that the car almost hit me, just drove away. Why would you be, if your story is correct, the car that was hitting you was also an impaired driver driving the wrong way down the road. Why would they stop for you? That's not surprising at all. If your story is correct and somebody was driving in the wrong direction, I can't, Karen. I tried. I'm really I can't defend it. I can't defend it. I don't. Karen.
Come on, none of it's true. None of it's true. It's BS. They made it up. They lie.
Layla says, my mom passed in July 26, 2023. And my dad passed on March 6th. I understand grief can show up differently for everyone. However, Karen needs to come up with a better excuse because this ain't it. Layla, I'm with you when you're right. She's still on the fence. Oh, y'all. Okay, so, I did take a little time off. I do have some stories that I need to put out. I promised you guys Justin Bieber. That will be coming out. Sometimes we got to get lighthearted. So tomorrow I invited Gabor, Jamie, that's me, and Rodney the Voice. 7:30 tomorrow night. We're going to be going live talking about hot topics, Potomac, Bravo, all the stuff. So that's coming tomorrow, 7:30 Central. But we got to, I got to mix it up. It can't, everything can't be so like dark. So FYI, we're going to keep speaking truth to power, but we're going to mix in some stuff. What is Booty Butter saying? Oh my God. Thank you, Booty Butter. She says, he or she's, I don't know. Booty Butter says, with that snout of hers, she can smell a lot. Booty Butter also says, this is what Heineken and Botox will do to you. Thank you for the super chats, Booty Butter. We got like almost 800 in the chat. Definitely hit that like button. If Mims don't stop. Look, Karen, I can't. And while we're on it, Karen finishes by saying, I would like to stress, and I was thinking here's where she was going to say the importance of not driving impaired. Instead, she said, it's important to understand your emotional state when driving. So that is the PSA. Emotional driving is the problem, not driving while impaired. Your emotional state when driving, and this may be a reminder to all to use their seatbelts. My mother may be my guardian angel, but the seatbelt saved my life. I love Karen, and this might be true, but this is an excuse that fell flat. If she were going to release a statement, it should have been an apology for endangering others' lives while drinking and driving. Y'all, while we're on it, I got to show y'all this. This little dude from, where is it? MTV. While we're on drinking and driving. This is what he had to say. The challenge star Nelson Thomas says a lot of people turn their backs on me as he speaks on alleged treatment from MTV following foot amputation and DWI. Nelson Thomas has opened up about where he stands with MTV following his DWI and near fatal car accident. Earlier this month, Nelson Thomas' right foot was amputated. The surgery took place almost 1 year after he was involved in a life-changing incident. For those who may be unaware, while purportedly driving under the influence in March of 2023, he lost control of his Audi A4 and slammed into a bridge in Austin, Texas. The impact caused the vehicle to burst into flames. Thankfully, Minnesota's Vikings wide receiver KJ Osborne and 3 other bystanders just happened to be riding past the incident and were able to pull Nelson Thomas from the burning vehicle. Police officers who reported to the scene said in court documents that they noticed Nelson had bloodshot, glassy eyes. They also said he later admitted to consuming 2 to 3 mixed alcohol drinks before the crash. He was later placed under police custody at the hospital after reportedly failing a field sobriety test. However, he was released once it was determined the treatments for his injuries would take longer than expected. Several months later, the influencer was arrested and officially charged with the DWI. A subsequently obtained search warrant for the toxicology results revealed at the time of the crash he had a blood alcohol content of 0.178. He was soon released after posting bond. During a recent live stream with fellow MTV reality star, he said Nelson was asked if BNP helped at all with the insurance money. Buena Murray Productions is the entertainment production company behind many MTV reality series. After a slight hesitation, he said, they did not. And what I expected from MTV was for them to reach out to me to say, hey, how can we help you out? But when the whole DWI came out, a lot of people turned their backs on me. And it sucked because at this point in my life, I was still fighting for my life in the hospital. Now, y'all, you got behind the wheel drunk. By the grace of God, you're still here because randomly some football player from the Vikings saw your burning car and pulled you out. And thank God you didn't actually hit anybody else. You hit a bridge. So you were in a near fatal car accident because you chose to get behind the wheel. And when releasing a statement, you fault MTV for not trying to help you out more. Are we in the Twilight Zone? Am I missing something here? We got Karen attributing her car crash to somebody else and not mentioning her own driving under the influence. We have this man blaming MTV for not coming to his aid and an insurance company that you work for not paying for your surgeries. What is going on with these reality stars? Y'all, what am I missing here?
That was not expected.
Why would MTV be the one who's accountable for your drunk driving? Somebody said both of them are Delulu. What am I missing? I didn't like. How about the things be? I was unequivocally wrong, and I'm just grateful that my actions didn't hurt anybody, and I'm going to do better in the future. Let me be a voice. And you lost your whole leg, your limb. This is how you make money because he goes on these challenges all the time. If he lost his leg due to some stunt that he did on MTV, I'd be like, okay, but that's not what this is. I'm sorry that this young man has lost a leg. I'm sorry that that's really his ability to work. But you didn't lose this on set. You lost this at your own, like, you did this, not MTV. You did this. I don't get it. I don't get it, y'all. Somebody says, I see a lot of hateful comments on here, but let's be real. If he were white, he would have been sent he would have been sent to a wellness center, given a check to get things together, and given behind the scenes special at this recovery, as well as a book deal. Absolutely do not agree. This does not have anything to do with him being black. I feel like this has everything to do with a lack of accountability. Even in Karen's case, you could go on and become an advocate for drinking and having a good time, and then knowing your limit, and then calling an Uber. Uber would probably have you be a spokesperson. Same for this guy. It's really all about how you choose to go about taking accountability. You could literally become an Uber or Lyft spokesperson, an advocate for not drinking and driving, but that's not what you did. I don't think this is a black and white issue as much as an issue of a lack of a self-awareness. But that's just me. On to this foolishness. On to this foolishness. It says Michael Jackson's son Blanket attempts to block his grandmother Catherine from using Michael's estate money in a legal battle. It says nobody wins when the family feuds. According to TMZ, Blanket Jackson, Michael Jackson's youngest son, is asking a judge to block his own grandmother from using Michael's estate money for a legal battle Blanket believes is unnecessary. It all started when Blanket and Catherine Jackson teamed up to stop the executors of Michael Jackson's estate from going through with a business transaction that neither of them agreed to. Not much is known about the transaction, but is believed to be in connection to an attempt to sell Michael's catalog for $600 million. So Blanket and Catherine filed an appeal for the transaction, but the judge ruled against them, seemingly closing the case. Well, it seems like Catherine wasn't taking no for an answer because she filed an appeal against the judge's ruling, something Blanket, who is the heir to Michael's estate, is completely against. Blanket believes she will not win the appeal, so he doesn't want to waste his father's money on the legal fees. In the court documents obtained by TMZ, Blanket is asking that Catherine not be allowed to use the money for the pointless lawsuit. The judge has yet to rule. Now, y'all, I'm not going to lie. I was more scared to do something that my grandmother didn't approve on than my own mama. I'm from the mindset that your grandmother is the only person in your family who really loved the kids, tried to protect the kids, was the support system for all of Michael's children, no matter where they came from and who actually fathered them. And you're going to go to the courts on your grandmother who's trying to fight for your best interest and your father's catalog. You're not going to the courts because she's trying to steal your money. Like, what? And while we're at it, I got so much flack for the Paris Jackson stuff, when I said Paris Jackson was not a where is this photo? Let me put this photo up because I got a lot of flack. While I'm looking for this real quick, definitely hit that like button. We got over 1,100 in the chat. I bet we don't even have 400 likes. Let me see, because I want you guys to see this, and I want y'all to understand the kind of flack I be getting. People were very upset with me when I said that Paris was not a black woman. If Paris is a black woman, then so is Rachel Dolezal. And I ain't taking it back. If Paris, who could have been Sheryl Crow's daughter, is a black woman, then so is Rachel Dolezal. What's not up for debate is if she's Michael Jackson's daughter. I believe that you can be somebody's child without being their biological blood. But don't come for me because I said this lady ain't a black woman. Now, I went through and there was all these cases of there was all.
Come on, none of it's true. None of it's true. It's BS. They made it up. They lie.
Now, I don't know what's going on with these children, but I do know that Janet, who don't even raise her voice, raised her hand and slapped her. Paris, I mean, y'all remember when she slapped that little girl? Y'all remember when she slapped that little girl? I mean, we can't really, Michael Jackson did. We don't really know what went on in that house, what these kids actually saw. But to me, they are Michael Jackson's children. Do I think that they are his biological children? No. Do I think that they care enough to go get a paternity test? No, because that's their dad. And, we crack jokes and stuff like that. But I ain't taking this back. That is... Somebody said Janet got Joe tendencies. They went, you can't even imagine what it was like growing up with Michael Jackson as a parent. They didn't have real childhoods. Their dad, was forever a child in his own brain. Who really knows what those kids went through, what those kids saw. One of them, mind you, this one, the one who's suing his grandma, was dangled from a window. In what world would a parent be allowed to dangle their child through a window and not go to jail? Michael Jackson. We could love Michael Jackson. We could acknowledge that Michael Jackson is the ultimate celebrity, the ultimate iconic symbol for, pop, R&B, all that. But at the end of the day, he dangled this little boy over a balcony and didn't go to jail for it. Who knows what those kids experienced? I don't know that the boy is traumatized. He was a baby. It was a balcony, but yeah. What did I say? What did I say? He dangled him over? Whatever the case is, it wasn't a normal childhood. I don't know. You got Janet slapping one and another one suing the grandma. You got multiple Jacksons who are cousins and brothers and sisters. You just never really know what you're going to get with the Jacksons. You have Jackson kids who are brother and sisters / cousins. So I'm never surprised anymore. I don't hate him, but this is the reality. Did I say something that was a lie? Did he not dangle his son over a balcony? Did Janet not slap the daughter? Is the son not suing the mama? Are the other children not cousins and brothers and sisters? That's what I'm saying. We get into these spaces where celebrities they're so iconic that if it were our neighbors who did this, then it would be like, wait, huh? But because it's a celebrity that does it, it's okay. D Nice, I'm not. If you see me say something that's off collar, let me know. Black One said Karen has always tried to talk her way out of the mess. This was a big fail. Absolutely. Thank you for the super chat. And Lil Sweet 098 says, Mims, it's delusional, entitlement, and the fact that you can plead your case in the courts of public opinion and someone will agree with you. That's really where we're at. Y'all, that's like literally let's see. AC says, is anyone asking if black people can be liberal puppets? We're gonna get into the Candiace Owens stuff in a minute. Actually, they are. And I think Candiace Owens does that. I think she effectively does that when she says that black people are swayed off of emotion that they get from the media instilling certain core values into them. That's exactly what we're asking, but we'll get into Candiace Owens in a minute. I love these kind of conversations, and I love the fact that we can have open dialogue on stuff that's popping off, what you believe in, what you don't believe in. How is it that Beats by Dre is getting how is it that Beats by Dre is getting a star on the Walk of Fame and Chris Brown is forever going to be stained by what he did? That's the question we got to ask. That is the question we got to ask ourselves. Because if Chris Brown is always going to have to wear that scarlet letter because he abused that woman, then how is it that this man is exalted because he is almost a billionaire? Wendy told us, and his name ain't Beats by Dre for nothing. Y'all remember?
So a straight shooter. Pow, pow. And
his name ain't Beats by Dre for nothing. Not only did Dr. Dre put his hands on his baby mama over and over and over again, he also put his hands in front of a crowd of people on a black woman named, what was her name? Was it Dee Barnes? I hope I said her name right. So we have to ask ourselves, is it because Dr. Dre signed that old school contract, he got seniority? Dee Barnes. Okay, I did get it right. Did he pay for that star? That's another thing, Bree. That's actually kind of where I was going to go with this. Anytime that you see people getting these stars on the Walk of Fame, it's usually when they have petitioned because they have something big coming up. I have a Vegas residency. I'm doing the Super Bowl. Very rarely do they just pick somebody who does not have something going on in the public eye. So, in all fairness, should this man be able to walk away and be washed of all of his sins in terms of putting his hands on black women because he developed Beats by Dre and sold it for almost $1 billion? He's still in the industry. Somebody said yes, they pay for their stars. Renee says TMZ just posted a photo of Karen's crash. Is it a bad photo? Let's see. Let's see. Karen Huger car crash. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see. TMZ. Okay, I don't see. Okay, here we go. Thank you for that super chat. It says this is like the tire marks where she went off the road and hit the tree. Y'all, we really doing some investigative stuff here. So are these one-way streets? Okay, it looks like these would be a one-way street, right? The photos and videos we got give a clear indication of how serious the wreck was, honing in on the point of contact where Karen went off the roadway, which she says she did to avoid an oncoming car, this after having a very emotional dinner with friends. Police, however, tell a different tale, with Montgomery County PD now offering another update on what they said went down on Karen's car accident. As we reported, cops had told us Karen hit the median and a street sign late Tuesday night while driving her 2017 Maserati. And we're now told a security guard in the neighborhood saw the whole thing and called the police. Fire and rescue and police officers responded to a call with an ambulance, but police say Huger refused to go to the hospital or to be evaluated. Okay, but where's the extra information? This didn't really give me any extra information. So I guess police are going to put out a statement and we'll be on it. So she swerved off the road, but it's not telling us, it's not really telling us, in my eyes, too much more. Maybe they like Karen and they don't want to put it out. Amazing says Beats by Breezy hit Jay-Z's property. Beats by Dre hit that black girl from down the street. Not literally, but Michelle A is not mainstream. So you're saying that because Rihanna had a big name, people cared, but because Michelle A, Dr. Dre was the big name and Michelle A and D Barnes were not, the media didn't care and it swept under the rug. That's a good point. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Marquita says a star costs $75,000. Joe Mo says the Janet incident was years ago. What does that have to do with this? I likened the Janet incident to a person in power in the family, like Janet hitting her because she said she was spoiled and entitled. Now you have the younger kid is now saying going to the court over something his grandma is doing that has his best interest. That's how I likened it. But you can agree and not agree. That's cool. I like when y'all don't necessarily agree with me. Everybody saw Rihanna's bruises. Yeah, I definitely think that being in this space of social media played a part. Shani says it's because Dre is older. DV was more acceptable back then. I lived through the 80s and 90s. A lot of celebs were abusers and no one said anything. This generation is more sensitive to toxicity and it's a good thing. We do speak truth to power, but that's kind of what we're about to get into. Sensitivity, cancel culture, political correctness. That's going to lead us into the conversation. Thank you for that generous super chat. That's going to okay, we got a Michael fan. Joe Mo says he didn't dangle. The child was over the balcony for 2 seconds. I was there. Get the F off Michael Jackson already. Well, hopefully we're there with your arms out in case in that 2 seconds when he could have dropped the baby, he didn't drop the baby. I hope that you got your arms out waiting to catch the baby who, 2 seconds is a long time when you are a child who's not fully developed and you could have dropped them. But anyway, I don't mind you having a different opinion, Joe Mo. That's cool with me. At least Joe was respectful in his disdain for my comment, which I'm cool with. Anyway, okay, so let's get to Candiace Owens. So Candiace Owens did an interview with the Breakfast Club today, and I want you guys to hear it, but I can't show you because the Breakfast Club don't really play. The big headline was, where is it? Candiace Owens explains why she married a white man. People tend to marry based on their IQ. Now, we all know that is the way a blog is going to get you sucked into the statement. So this is what Candiace had to say.
I know a lot of people will hear you say, well, Candiace, you're speaking a lot about, the black family, but then you married a white man.
Yeah.
Dr. Umar would have a huge problem with that.
Okay. I would love to talk to him more about that because, I mean, it's always very interesting to me to hear this paradox of Black people who will make an argument that, the system is racist and then also make an argument like this, which is essentially making an argument for the Supreme Court to revisit Virginia versus Love and basically say that Black Americans and white Americans shouldn't be marrying. I think the greatest thing ever is when people come together on the basis of who they love and get married. For me personally, I never thought of my husband as a race. It's just very interesting to me that see people go, she's married to a white man. When I look at my kids, I'm not like, oh, my kids are mixed. I married the person that it made the most sense for me to marry. I have a mind that is just, if you even knew half the things that I'm thinking about, the stuff that I'm reading, just go all the time. It was difficult for me to find a partner that was a challenge to me, the challenge that I needed, whether you want to say like an academic challenge, whatever it is, with my same interests. It just was. What you will know, a lot of times people think that when people come together, it's because of how they look. Actually, I actually read this in a Thomas Sowell book, or maybe it was a Shelby Steele book. People tend to marry their IQ, which is interesting. You think like if you see two Black people together, oh, it's because they are two Black people, but actually they are probably better matched based on their IQ. I fell in love with my husband just because I think he is one of the most brilliant people ever. I love him very much. The stuff that we talk about, I'm like, there is no other person that I could have married. We have 3 beautiful children who are growing up in an environment that I am just so happy that I was.
Now, I want to go back to something you said earlier, because I know a lot of people will hear you say, well, Candiace, you're speaking a lot about, the Black family, but then you married a white man.
Okay. So here's my thing. And I actually said it in the comments. People don't like Candiace Owens, and a growing number of people are loving Candiace Owens. I feel like in any situation, a pendulum will swing. So in the situation with Obama spoke at a really high level, and he spoke to a group of people who did not always necessarily vote. People came out in droves to put Obama in office. Well, it was only natural that the pendulum would swing in the other direction. Linguists have come out and said that Trump spoke at, I think they said around like a 4th to 5th grade level when he would be giving his speeches. Well, you have to think he spoke to people that weren't accustomed to people in power speaking to them. The pendulum swung the other way. People, felt like Obama was so worldly, and they came out in droves and supported him. Well, people felt like Trump was the average person, although technically Trump went to an Ivy League school. Trump spoke in that manner to get the attention of people who felt like they were not heard. Same with Obama. It's a pendulum and it swung. In addition to that, in the 2000s and more so in around like the 2010s, we reached a level of political correctness that was unseen before. This is the onset of cancel culture and things of that nature, and it made people be more politically correct. The pendulum swung in the other way. And that's when you had Trump and Candiace Owens speaking to people who preferred less political correctness. It's not rocket science. People ask me, do you hate Candiace Owens? No, I don't technically hate anybody. I distrust political commentators as a whole. What I do, I would never tell you don't like somebody, like somebody. That's not what I'm here for. What I do personally, if you want to know, is I watch everything. I ingest everything as much as I can stomach. I watch MSNBC, CNN, Fox News. I watch everything, and I make my decisions based on, I feel like a lot of people, we make our decisions based on what we deem the lesser of two evils, because we live in a society where it's supposed to be a cultural melting pot. But if you look at this, nothing says cultural melting pot about a million Caucasian presidents, one biracial president, biracial black and white, and one biracial black and white vice president. We have a society that there are so many Latin Americans. We don't see that in the top of the line. So for me, I am very untrusting when it comes to politics as a whole. That's just how I am. I would never tell somebody who to vote for or whatever. That's not my thing. I have to, like, I had so much anxiety and everything around 2016 because everything was so heightened that what I had to do was step out of it. I still vote, but I'm not going to tell you guys who to believe. Am I going to sit here and say that Candiace Owens does not make some comments that make sense? Of course she does. But what happens is you have a Candiace Owens who speaks to, you know, there is a movement for body positivity. Everybody don't agree with body positivity. Some people have made these statements, and this is not me. I'm just saying, they say, I don't want to see Lizzo's fat ass shaking in my face. I don't want to open Instagram. I'm disgusted by that. So when you have somebody like Candiace Owens who speaks to that, then naturally people are going to say, well, damn, she makes sense. Yeah, no, I'm not here to tell you guys. Why did I do that with a California accent? I'm not here to tell y'all who to vote for, who not to vote for, and stuff like that. That ain't me. I'm a person who believes that you can only effectuate change through voting. But that doesn't mean that I can't see some of these things. So let's get to Candiace Owens and her white husband. I made this comment, and people were fighting in the comments. Let me see. Okay, I said, people be on bullshit defending their fave. If a black basketball football player marries a white woman, they're a sellout. When Candiace does it, it's acceptable. It's all right, sis. I said, at the end of the day, people marry, date, and sleep with who they want, period. At the end of the day, whoever Candiace Owens chooses to screw, whoever Candiace Owens chooses to marry, that is who she chose. You don't have to sleep with them. But do I think that... I want you guys to see these comments and the fights that went on, because I told you guys there are sectors of YouTube. One of them is called the manosphere in particular, and I think the other one might be like the pink pill. They are very... It can get pretty nasty. It can get pretty nasty in there. If a black man is dating a white woman, and we got to have an honest conversation. Can we have an honest conversation? I've heard so many times when you see an actor or a football player dating a white woman, oh, they're a sellout. You couldn't find a black woman. This is the problem with black men today. You hear that over and over again. Conversely, there is a movement for black women to date outside the race. And when a black woman does date outside the race, they say, dang, sis, you got it. It's crazy, the double standard. At the end of the day, you're gonna date, you're gonna do whomever you want. Y'all get what I'm saying with this? It's less about condemning Candiace for dating a black man or marrying a white man, and more about looking at why we think the way we think. Why is it that it's acceptable for a woman to do this but not a man, and vice versa? If you are a conservative black person, more often than not, you're going to side with Candiace. Candiace is not only conservative. I would arguably call her a capitalist. So her views are going to skew that way. it just is what it is. Oh, somebody said I would like to hear Candiace's conversations with her husband about Black issues. That would be interesting. Candiace is a conservative's dream. She's a Black woman who says these things about Black culture. And another thing, this is behind the scenes more than anything, guys. You can make yourself, if you have the money, you can make yourself be whatever you want by utilizing the blogs. Candiace is no fool. She knows that when she says something more salacious and common sense about Black culture, she snips those things out. Either the neighborhood talk or the shade room can be paid. I think it's like between 500 to a couple thousand maybe for the shade room. You clip that out, you put that out, and you become part of the conversation. She says that she really does not like how the media can influence people to think one way or the other or think more on their emotion, but that's technically what every commentator does. That's why I'm distrusting. I don't hate Candace Owens. Why would I hate Candace Owens? She's just doing what any other commentator does, and she's speaking for conservative capitalist. So her viewpoints are going to be skewed there. Period. The same way that a liberal pundit is going to give you their biased opinion about what Republicans to do. That's why I don't really get into politics. I have to listen to everybody. I have to actually hear the policies that will impact me, and I have to choose each time I vote on basically the lesser of two evils. Right. Some people feel she's the Black Ann Coulter. Some people feel she is growingly becoming the voice of the Black conservative. And a lot of them like conservatives. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. This woman can marry whoever she wants. But do I think it's a fair question? Yeah. You're talking about the Black family, but technically you don't. Your core family, which would be your 3 children and your husband, are not that. So it's a natural question. Do I feel like the Breakfast Club gave Candiace the ability just to kind of talk for an hour? Yeah. I don't think they had very much pushback on a lot of things. They talked to Candiace about Fanny. So of course she was like, Fanny definitely needs to, be taken off the case and this and that. But they never asked her, you are voting for Trump. What do you feel actually happened do you feel like Trump actually did try to overturn the election? That would be the natural question. But instead, they allowed her to talk about Fanny, and then they moved right on. That is the issue. And that's what people who don't like her take umbrage with. Y'all can point me, let me know if I'm wrong. If they ask you, why'd you marry a white man? And you said, I feel like you actually marry your IQ. Well, then the next natural question would have been, well, did you date Black men? And did you not find any Black men who had an equal IQ to you? No, this was clipped out because that's what the media does. But she did say that she has dated a Black man, but her preference was actually Asian men initially. I think that the Breakfast Club did not do a good job. You can have follow-up questions. I feel like because Candiace is kind of like very astute, that they did not want to sound stupid. So they really had no follow-up questions. So it was like allowing her to be her own mouthpiece for an hour, which some might argue is a good way to interview because it allows the person to really speak and without being interrupted. But I definitely would have had some follow-up questions. Candiace is a contrarian. She says things that will garner attention. She's very smart. AGC says, we have no idea what we as Black women are missing, period. Keisha said they never do a good job. She answered questions about Trump, but that's not true. See, there's the issue. I didn't say anything negative about Candiace Owens. I said very specifically, if we're talking about Fannie and why Fannie should be taken off the case, I would like to hear, as a Trump supporter, your opinion on if he tried to overturn the election. That's how things get misconstrued. I specifically said that's what I would have asked her at that moment if I were interviewing her. Paula says, my conservative white friends love her. We are at a day and age where anybody can become famous. Look at Blueface and Krishan. They bought their way onto the blogs until they were actually a household name. Same thing with political pundits. Same thing with your local YouTuber who has the money to get on the Shade Room or the Neighborhood Talk enough. You do that enough, you are catapulted into the spotlight, which used to be reserved for people who could get on television. Now you can become famous by simply being on, YouTube or having, an Apple podcast and things like that. That's why I come on here and talk to you guys. I like to ask questions. I don't like spaces where I won't follow a content creator who wants their people in their chats to think like them. I'm glad that I have some of you guys who don't like Candiace. I'm glad that I have some of you guys who do like Candiace. Speak truth to power does not mean that somebody has to think like you. It just means that they literally have to be willing to speak truth to power in all situations. That's it. And if you have somebody who only wants you to be in their space or their life because you agree with them 100% of the time, then you got to get the hell away from that person. Again, Wastebees said, but she did talk about Trump a few times and why she didn't vote in 26 and why she would vote now. That she did. I watched the whole interview. But my question specifically was, if we're going in on Fannie, then a fully robust conversation on the topic would have included, as a Trump supporter, do you feel he tried to overturn the election? What is your viewpoint? Now that we have the facts on what happened on January 6th, where do you stand? Because she also talked about there should be term limits and things of that nature. So by your own logic, if you don't feel like all these old men should be in office forever, but you have a presidential candidate that you support who has been alleged to try to overturn an election, I want to hear what you have to say about that. That's what I'm saying specifically, Waste Beads. That's what I wanted the Breakfast Club to do. You don't have to like Candiace Owens, but if you have her on your platform, try to be as informed as possible. Fani, my bad, ma'am. She said, Shay W says Fani. I was calling her Fanny. Well, I like Fantasia, so I'll call everybody Fanny. Nitwood said, I wonder if Charlamagne would have more in-depth questions on another platform. Charlamagne has come a long way. I give him a hard time, but Charlamagne has definitely come a long way, but I'm not going to pretend like they don't, I feel like when you have an intellectual on, you can kind of see the Breakfast Club pandering. Nobody wants to feel stupid. Nobody wants to have a moment where I was about to use an example, but I can't. I was about to use an example, but I like this person and I'm 1 degree of separation. So I can't use that as an example, but a hint was it was on The View. We'll do another View moment. Nobody wants to have Ann Coulter on their platform like The View did, and Raven Simone saying some dumb shit, and Ann Coulter says, What is a watermelondria? What are we even talking about? And making Raven look stupid. That's what happens on the Breakfast Club. If they have an intellectual person or somebody who's a pseudo-intellectual, they're not going to have too much pushback because they don't want to sound stupid in perpetuity. Just say it. I love who is she? She has a what is her name? She took over for Wendy Williams. Sherry Shepherd. I love Sherry Shepherd, but she's always gonna have the scarlet letter when she was arguing that the earth was flat. Anyway, let's see. So was YouTube different from the radio version? Because I didn't hear the question on Fanny. I did watch it. I did listen to it on YouTube. So you might check it out there. Anyway, oh, Waitsby said I wasn't talking to you. Okay, all right, I got it. Even if you were respectful. Let me tell y'all, somebody came at me, a Barb came at me, and I can't post this picture because I could get in trouble on YouTube. But a Barb came at me. Let me see if I have anything. This Barb came at me, right? This Barb came at me. And they talked about me. Let me see what they said. It was something that Nikki had did. She was being funny, handed the mic. I was like, I won't say what I'm thinking. So this Barb came at me and said that he could use Listerine strips and stop eating food that stain his teeth. And then the Barb also reached out to me and said, tell us you a bottom without telling us. Please cut it and brush them teeth. Now, y'all, I'm a person who this person called themselves something about a rabbit. They called themselves like a pretty rabbit. Sometimes you got to meet people where they're at. And so that's what I did. My response was, a bloated possum who don't even look good with a filtered pic could never offend me. I'm sure you typed this real quick because your next client at that pay by the hour motel is on their way. Be blessed and make sure they strap it up. That was my response. Sometimes you got to meet people where they're at. It is what it is. Yeah, sometimes you got to drag people to hell. Because if I would have came out with intellectual read, it would have went over her head. It is what it is. Anyway, let me see. Hold on. Bernice says Candiace has been a mouthpiece for conservatives for years. She has come down on the Black community. Don't be fooled. Follow the money that pays her. Fair point. Candiace talked about lobbyists. Well, we know that lobbyists are not just for liberal people. Conservatives also have like back alley payments from no politician. I don't feel like any politician has completely clean hands. At the end of the day, people become politicians for the most part to curate their own self-interest. Look at everybody's motives. Best advice I could give. Question everybody's motives. Thanks, Miss Bernice. Annette says, I just love me some Mims and his content. Thank you, Annette. I appreciate you too. Oh, wait. That's a lot. DGF said, we were PO'd about D Barnes and Michelle back in the day. However, there was no social media to be heard in mass or to hold him accountable. Very, very true. Camille says, MJ definitely dangled blanket from likely a penthouse balcony. I wouldn't do that with my son. I believe that Karen is a repeat offender. Well, Giselle says she was an alcoholic and a drunk. I don't know if the woman's alcoholic and a drunk. And Annette, thank you so much for being a member for 2 months. And for the super sticker, Miss Van Dyke, I appreciate you. Shay B says, Fawny. Oh, I did that one. Fawny. I'm still going to call her Fanny, probably. Nitwit said, I wonder. Oh, I got that one too. And Booty Butter says, oh, no, Mims, we love your mouth. In and out. I don't know how to take that, Booty Butter, but thank you. I don't. If he did, I don't remember it. But I think that people need to change the way politicians are even able to get in office. They are all corrupt at this point. Everybody serves their own self-interest. Now, for some people, the self-interest might be the betterment of everybody, right? Like I might want at all costs to protect the homeless. So I'm going to, allocate funds and take money from the rich to do that. Are you going to tell a rich person that don't really care about this situation? Well, I don't want you to. A rich person would be like, I don't want you to take my funds. That's really the give and take. That's what I mean by a pendulum. But in my chat, it's everybody. That's what I'm finding out. In this chat, it's everybody. And that's the difference between this channel. We want you guys to have difference of opinion over here. That's that's the spice of life. Anyway, y'all, I gotta go. Tomorrow, remember, it's gonna be me, Gabor, Jamie, that's me, doing the hot topics. We're gonna do Bravo stuff. We're gonna do Kate, the princess that ran away. Y'all know Kate, right? Kate, the woman who was deemed the most beautiful woman in the world. Kate, y'all know her, right? The most naturally beautiful woman in the world. Kate. We're going to be talking about her. Remember Kate, who didn't like our black Duchess? Kate. Y'all know Kate, right? Let me stop. I know she didn't run away. Y'all, I'm just being silly. I'm just being silly, y'all. But we're gonna I'm just being silly. We're gonna talk about Kate and that whole scenario. We're gonna do hot topics tomorrow. That's gonna be at 7:30. If we're gonna do that, then maybe I'll try to give you guys the Gabor's in here. He said Candiace is pro-black, but pro-black just looks different for different people. Okay, well, Gabor will be one of those people here tomorrow. If y'all got questions for him, ask him tomorrow. 7:30 Central. We're gonna be going live. So never heard of her. Anyway, see y'all tomorrow. Bye, y'all.